Welcome to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
Hi, everybody. I'm spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White, and welcome to Ask Me Anything. Today is April 11th, 2024. I'd like to know, how did everybody survive the eclipse? And if you had some really interesting eclipse stories. I had a couple of really interesting ones that I'll share tonight. But let me say hi to everybody. Hi, Angel. Hi, MKD. Hi, Dee Dee from Chicago. So my book is coming out. Thank you for asking, Dee Dee. Believe it or not, in about 2 to 3 months, it will be out. So it's been quite a journey to get there. And of course, you'll be getting all kinds of notices and everything about it. And I'll be talking about it as we get a little closer. But yes, this eclipse really brought a lot of change into my life, and as eclipses do. So this is going to be an exciting time. Hi, Nettie. Hi, Renee. First of all, Renee, congratulations. I think you got married on April 1st. So congratulations, Renee, to you. Beautiful blessings to you, Renee. Hi, Christina. Hi, Stacy. Hi, Ellie. Another learning experience. Oh, you'll be learning a lot, because my favorite topic, I have a lot of favorite topics, but one of my favorite topics is talking about spirit guides. I love my guides, and I love talking about it, and I love seeing the synchronicity in all the things that happen with guides, because they're the ones that kind of put that in our arena. So, but I'm going to get into this. I'll be talking about this. Hi, Sasha. Hi, Elizabeth. Warm weather, Elizabeth. I think it's coming. Hi, Vicki. How you doing, honey? Hi, Frank. Hi, Lori. Hi, this camp's done. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you're excited about it. Ardelia. Hi, Ardelia from South Australia. Hi, Dolly. Hi. Oh, Judy Friedman. Hi, Judy. I hope you're feeling better. Our dear friend Judy didn't feel so well tonight. She had COVID. So I know a lot of people are getting sick with that still. But hi, Jen Tran. Hi, Mary. Hi, Karen. So I'm going to start with a couple of things. First, I have a big announcement. I have one big announcement to start with, and that is I am going to open a Saturday a month for the next 2 or 3 or 4 months to see how it works for me. A Saturday of having sessions, because I know a lot of people cannot work on a Saturday, or they work during the week and they can only have a session on a Saturday. And I've been asked so many times. So currently, I just opened up May 4th for sessions. I'm not sure what's available yet, but we just posted this up today. So May 4th is open for Saturday sessions. So if you're interested in a session with me, kelleewhite.com. I do starseed sessions. I do spirit guide sessions. I had 2 spirit guide sessions today, as a matter of fact. I do mediumship, straight mediumship, or I do a combination of mediumship, and I do spiritual counseling. So if any of that interests you, or a friend, and you would like to have and I do families too together. So anyway, it's something to look at. It's on my website. And as long as I'm talking about that, sign up for my Starseed class on May 10th in the United States and May 11th in Australia with Janelle Campbell. And if you got to see our show on Monday night with James, our Both Sides Now and Beyond this past Monday, we had Janelle on, and it was such a great show. It's so much heart, so much love there. And she's such a great teacher, and we're going to be teaching all about starseeds. So somebody asked me, and I think, Judy, it was you, if you are ADD or ADHD, does that make you a starseed? And I'm going to say, yes, it does. Proudly, yes, it does. That's right. So anyway, if you're interested in starseeds and what they are all about and why we incarnate to Earth, particularly at this time, please join us for our Starseeds event, which is going to be a great class on May 10th and May 11th. It's a 3-hour class on Zoom, everybody. So please join us. And I wanted to mention this about the eclipse, because I thought this was pretty interesting, and this was our experience. And I would like to know if anybody else had the experience with their animals. But for us, we have the 2 dogs. We have Otis and Charlotte, and they're always together. Otis and Charlotte, they're large dogs. They're always together, and they're never apart, like ever. And certainly they're never apart, and then they're never without us. And so we're always together. And so we were out with the eclipse on Monday, And as we were getting closer to the apex of the eclipse, I had Otis was out there, and Charlotte was out there, and Dawn and me, and we were out there. And Charlotte ran in back into the house, and she refused to come out again. Now that's unheard of for her. She would never ever just dart off and leave us, never. But she did, and I thought, wow, the eclipse is really, because we didn't get total darkness. We were at like 86%, I think, of the totality, but it got really cold. But that would not. She's a farm girl. There's no way that would have bothered her. It was something in the eclipse energy that she was feeling, and she ran inside and did not come out the rest of the night. And then my trainer, Cindy, hi Cindy, if you're watching, who lives not too far from me, we're in southern Wisconsin. She told me a wild story. She said that during the eclipse, as they got to the apex part of it, they were outside, and she said they looked up and they had 20 deer standing on their property, just staring. They counted 20 deer just staring and not moving. So you can't tell me that animals are not affected by all of this. They certainly had to have been. So I'm curious if everybody else had some of those kind of interesting experiences with themselves or with people or with animals. So anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about astrology, and then I'm going to get into spirit guides here. So I just want to mention a couple of things astrologically. On April 13th, you'll notice that the energy is going to start getting better than it has been for those last, couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks. It was been really rough energy. But on April 13th, in Vedic astrology, the sun moves into Aries. And when the sun is in Aries, it's in its home. It's like so excited to be in Aries, because Aries brings a lot of power to the sun. It brings a lot of power. So during this period of time, and it's in Aries from April 13th until May 14th, for a month. And in Aries, it's very inspirational. And so on April 13th, it'd be a great day actually for affirmations, to set your intentions, for prayers, because the sun represents our confidence and our life force and our soul purpose and our direction in life. And the sun is exalted in Aries, meaning that it's really powerful there. So on that day, it will increase vitality and clarity, because we've had some real foggy issues with Mercury in retrograde. And now, by the way, Mercury is still in retrograde until the 25th of March. However, this sun is such a powerful, the 13th, and that going forward is a real powerful time. And then on April 20th, we have this really extraordinary conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus. And that hasn't happened in probably thousands of years, but they can, because in Vedic astrology, it's at 28 degrees of Aries. And that means two planets together. And Uranus is the planet of technology, surprise, sudden windfalls, things like that, sudden changes too. And Jupiter expands it. Jupiter is wisdom and spirituality, and it expands this. So people that are healers, are doing healing work, anybody that is doing anything like psychic work or medium work or anything along those lines, your work will expand, okay? Because this is it's a very rare conjunction, and we will feel this for a long time because it's really, really important. And the last thing I want to mention, and of course I'll be talking about this in the next couple of weeks, but Jupiter, we call Jupiter the guru, the spiritual teacher, the wisdom, it transits into another sign once a year. And it's currently in Aries. But on May 1st, it moves into Taurus, and for a full year. And that's a huge deal, because Taurus has a lot to do with security and materialistic events and things, where Jupiter is about wisdom and, as I said, the guru, spirituality. So they're kind of opposing energies. But it'll be an interesting time to see. Now, here's the other thing. The last time that Jupiter was transited into Taurus was on May 17th, 2012. And so it was there until May 30th of 2013. So you might want to look at your life of what was going on in 2012 for you, May of 2012, until for a year, until May of 2013. And funny for me, now that I think about it, I had already graduated from grad school, law school. I don't think so. Grad school. What else did I do? And had already started my practice. And I'd already started my private practice. And I'll tell you what I was doing. I was combining my work. So that was an interesting time. And I also started with Dr. Shirley, Both Sides Now and Beyond. So that was that's an interesting time. So it will be interesting to see what emerges for me as well during this period of time. So, okay, that was the astrology part. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to do that for everybody. Okay, so let's talk about, and I'm going to answer your questions too. Let's talk about star seeds. Oh, and I have to say this, and I just have to mention this. OJ passed. OJ's passing. And I have to say that, Anne Margaret, you did leave me a funny one here when you said, wouldn't it be interesting to talk about OJ's karmic review? Oh my gosh. Now, interesting thing about spirit guides, every soul that comes to Earth has a minimum of one guide, 2 guides, 3 guides, a team of guides, depending on what you're going through and what you need. And with spirit guides, we choose everything before we come in. And so, but to the point of thinking about OJ's, I can't fathom what it would have been like to be their guides, actually, because he made such horrible decisions. So it's pretty interesting. And we do have free will here. So anyway, that's all I'm going to comment on that. That's an unbelievable. I hope it can bring peace to people. Okay, so before we incarnate, we work with our guides to plan our journey here on Earth. Our guides are chosen. We choose our guides, and they're chosen for us with what we have in mind and where our soul is in our growth on Earth, in our spiritual growth, not just on Earth, but our growth, where our vibration is. So let me just remind you that Earth is a tough school, and lessons here can be very challenging. Okay, so we all have a guide. We all have a minimum of 1 guide, 2 guides. Some have 3. Some have a gaggle of guides. I mean, we just have a lot of guides. And in fact, I'll tell you a very funny story about a guide. I mean, it's one of my favorites. I've got a lot of favorite stories with guides. I found my spirit guides well, let me just backtrack here, and I'll just tell you this. So how I got so interested in guides. But after I had my traumatic brain injury, and for people that are just new here, how I became a medium is I had a traumatic brain injury in the year 2000, 10 days after an eclipse. And as a result of the traumatic brain injury, I started seeing, I'll use, for lack of a better word, dead people, spirit guides, all kinds of things. And I was in a place once in Tahiti after my head injury that I was able, all of a sudden, out of the blue, in the middle of the night, on a small little island, a small little motu, both of my guides appeared in front of my eyes. Now, put a pin in that, because 3 years before this, I had been reading James Van Praag's book, Talking to Heaven. And in James's book, Talking to Heaven, as I inhaled that book, he talked about, if you want to meet your spirit guides, just ask them to come. Tell them you want to see them. So when people say, how do you do it? You tell them you want to see them. And I was a business professional, and every night before I went to bed, I would say, guides, I really want to see you. I really didn't even know what spirit guides were, but I had this strong feeling that I really wanted to see them. That's all I can tell you. 3 years later, I have my head injury. A year after that, I'm in an island in Tahiti. I'm on an island. And in the middle of the night, kaboom, kaboom, I had 2 guides that both appeared, in literally so clear they had materialized in front of me. And if you think you want that experience, you better think again, because most people would have a heart attack. I actually came out of my body. I thought I was going to die because it was just way too much for me. But again, I don't recommend it. I would rather say, guides, come to me in your dreams. That's a good one. Come to me in my dream. So as a result of that, everywhere I went for the first few years that I was dealing with my head injury and I was seeing dead people, I would see everybody's guide. Everybody's guide, whether it was 1, 2, 3 guides, it didn't matter, a team of guides, I'd see them all. So guides are very real. They exist. And I'll tell you why they exist, because they're here for a very specific reasons. So let me say this, guides, because people keep asking, well, why did I make this choice? Why didn't my guide tell me? Seriously? I can't even believe people ask that question. I'm going to tell you why. Because we have free will here on Earth. And if you don't think guides are constantly trying to get you to go over here and don't do that, and people just are in their own free will space. And let's say there's a bad person that you know better, not to be with that person. And the guides are like throwing books at you, and they're like putting feathers in your cap, and they're doing all kinds of things to get your attention, not to be with that person. And you're like, oh, what the heck? Even though I probably shouldn't, I'm going to do it anyway. And then you blame it on the guides? I don't think so. No. They're not going to take responsibility for it. You actually have to make responsibility for yourself while you're on Earth. Okay, but I do want to tell you a funny story about guides, because when I met Don and I was talking about my spirit guides, he had never had any experience with this. And so he said, well, do I have a spirit guide? I said, of course you do. And he said, who is he? And I said, well, it looks like an Indian man, like a native Indian man. And that's all I said. I said, but he said, well, what's his name? I said, I don't know. Ask him before you go to bed. I don't know. And that's the thing. Before you go to bed, ask them to tell you your name, their names. And by the way, they don't care if you know their name. If you don't know their name, it doesn't really matter to them. But so Don goes to bed that night, and he wakes up like at the crack of dawn, like 5:30 in the morning. And he goes, oh my God. I said, what? And you have to know that Don is not dramatic at all. And he said, well, I saw my guide. I said, you saw your guide? Yeah, he's huge Indian man, huge. He's like 7 feet tall, huge, just huge Indian man. I said, really? And his name, he told me his name. I said, what's his name? And he said, oh my God, I still laugh at this because it just makes no sense. And he said, it's Nathan. And I said, let me get this straight. Your Indian guide's name is Nathan. Yes, it's Nathan. All right. 1 week later, my dear friend Sue. So Sue, if you're watching, I have to tell the story. Literally 1 week later, my friend Sue calls me. She goes, guess what? I went to a Reiki master today. I said, oh, how was it? Oh, it was amazing. She brought through my guide. And I said, oh, really? And Kellee, my guide is this giant Indian man, and his name is Nathan. I was literally floored. Okay. Then I told her Dawn's experience. Now, by the way, my friend Sue was in Colorado when this happened. And I certainly never would have told her Dawn's guide. I hadn't even talked to her that week. So what I learned about that was that soul groups come in with guides. And one guide, especially a highly advanced guide, can take on a group. And often that happens, which doesn't mean that you don't get individual attention. Of course you do, because a guide knows exactly why you're here. He's got your sacred contracts in the palm of his hand. He or she or they, because it doesn't really even matter the sexuality of the guide. You don't know if it's male, female. Sometimes I don't have a clue when I'm doing a reading because they're so highly advanced that I don't get any of that. But a guide, just so you know, spirit guides are energetic beings, okay? And they help us navigate our journey while on Earth. And you would think, so they cannot change our destiny. They know that we have free will. And what they do, and I try to explain it, they're different than angels. And I try to explain it this way. Let's say you are going to go to the store, and you're on your way to the store, and you're driving to the store, And all of a sudden you get this idea, no, I think instead I'm going to go to Starbucks and get a cup of coffee. And okay, you go to Starbucks, you're waiting in line at Starbucks and you meet the love of your life, or you meet somebody that's going to help you get a job, or you meet another like-minded person that you're supposed to meet. That's what spirit guides are great for. They help put us and remind us of our path, and they love us unconditionally, just as we are. And I know that when I saw both of my guides with my physical eyes, the love that was pouring out of them as I literally was shaking, like I thought I easily could have died, easily. And because it was just too much. It was honestly too much for me. It was too much, be too much for anybody, frankly. Um, but the love that comes from them, it's otherworldly love. You can't imagine this type of love. Now, most spirit guides, not all of them, but most of them have had at least one life on earth, because they know how difficult the journey can be here. So they've had the experience here. And both of my spirit guides have been with me on the entire journey, because they definitely know my plan better than me, and they really do help with my journey. And I had a very interesting experience today that I wanted to share with spirit guides, with my guides, because my guides, when I have a session with somebody, my guides and their guides, whoever I'm working with, all come together. So yes, you'll have your loved ones. And by the way, our loved ones can be a guide for us. They're not the original guide, because our original guides, we choose them before we incarnate. But many people, you will hear me say when I have sessions, oh, your mother is a guide to you, which means now she's a guide, or a father, because they need to be working with you. They know you well and they need to work with you. But you'll also have other guides. Now you might have an ancestor guide. Oh, I've seen those many a time that come in, because they know the lineage and they know exactly where you are with who you are with where you are in your life regarding family lineage trauma. So that happens. But I have to share this story today, because this even knocked me out of the park. I was so blown away by this story, I have to tell you. I have a client that I've had for 15 years, and out of the blue, she did not know I was doing a show on spirit guides tonight. And out of the blue, she said to me, Kellee, is there any way, would you mind telling me about my spirit guide? Just out of the blue. And I have known her 15 years. And I said, sure. And all of a sudden, this picture came to me, and I said, I don't know how to explain this to you, but this is what I see, because guides will often come to you in symbols. And I said, I see a triangle, like a green triangle, like Kellee green triangle, with like a head, like a circle, and then the eye of Horus. I don't even know why I'm saying this, but this is what I see. And I described this triangle, green triangle. And I know green is healing, and this is how I described it to her. She said, really? I said, yeah. And she's going to be working, or this energy is a guide is going to work with you and your daughter. And anyway, it was unbelievable. But here's what happened. So I use these cards, and I love these cards as well. And these are Energies of the Soul by Harry T. Now, Harry is also going to be on our show, on James, and I have a new show coming up. I think it starts April 29th, and Harry will be on our show to promote his new book. I think it's Fingertips in the Air and Feet on the Ground, or something like that. So, and I love Harry, and he's going to be a really fun guest to have in May for our new show. But anyway, he's got a bunch of oracle cards. So I said to my client, choose a number. And I shuffled the cards, and I said, give me a number. And she said, number 22. I said, all right. So I put the cards out, and I 1, 2, 3, and I get to number 22. And this is the card that came up, if you can believe this, right there. It was a triangle with, look, the number like a Horus eye underneath. And it's funny, because we had been working on fear. Now, what are the odds of this happening? But guides come to you. I share this because she told me I could share this, because they come to us in symbols. And if you have not read this book, this is an excellent book. This is James's book, Wisdom from Your Spirit Guides. It's a great book. If you haven't read it, you need to read it. If you're really interested in spirit guides, it's extraordinary. And he gives a tremendous amount of education on guides. And I think it would be just a great thing for you guys to read. But guides cannot take away our free will. Okay, they cannot. They can point us in the direction, And the purpose of a spirit guide is to help make our journey successful in here. So you might say, well, they keep screwing up. No, they're not screwing up. No, guides do not screw up. They do not screw up. They help. Their goal is to help you stay on the path to help that you've come to learn on Earth. So if your class on Earth was a real hard lesson, one like grief, or you had to learn compassion or something, they cannot prevent you from having fated events. And so that's just not how it works, but at all. They are there with you. You are never alone. I assure you, it is not possible to be alone. I know you think you are, you're not possible. What guides do is they inspire us actually to fulfill our journey. Like today, when I saw that green triangle, that was like, I love stuff like that. I mean, that's just so much fun for me. So, and how do you tell if your guides are communicating with you? You'll start to feel a sense of joy, of an excitement maybe. You might receive a piece of wisdom and you might think, where in the world did that come from? You think it came from your guide? Definitely. You might hear your name. So when this journey started for me, I started hearing my name in the middle of the night. I don't know if you guys have had that experience, but it is something else when you have that. All of a sudden you're like, who said my name? Like I'm sleeping alone. Nobody could have said my name, but I heard it. Okay, this has happened to me so many times. Back in the day, it happened a lot. The other thing with a guide is you will feel a shift in energy when your guide is around, because what happens is the shift in energy is it connects your energy. A guide will connect their energy. Your energy will be connected to a larger energy field, is what I'm saying, a larger energy field, and you'll feel the shift of it. Okay, and how often the best way I feel to work with guides is to really start in meditation and maybe do a guided meditation to meet your guides. That's a great one. Acknowledge them. Say, guides, I'd love to. I'm so happy you're working with me. How many are there of you? 1, 2, and you can start to feel the energy. So when I do a session with somebody, if I see 3 guides, I know for sure that person is going through some major change. Either there's an illness, it depends on if it's a healing guide. Sometimes that happens and I'll go, oh, there's an illness here. Or it doesn't have to be that, or it could be a complete change in career. That would also bring a 3rd guide. And then of course there are teams of guides. Like my mother would say to me, who's my guide? And I'm like, 1 guide? No, Mom, you have a team. My mom was a doctor. She had a team around her. So again, the best way let me mention this. What types of guides are there? There are inspirational guides. So let's say you are just down and you need some help. Ask for inspirational guides. They often will come to us. There are wisdom guides. I cannot tell you how often I will work with somebody and I'll go, oh my God, it's a wisdom guide here, because they literally, I see them in white robes. Some of them have turbans. It all depends. And then there are healer guides. So there's lots of different guides. And my guides have stayed with me, and I know they will stay with me for my a trip here on Earth. Is that the best way to say it? I think so. But some guides change constantly. Like James will have a rotating bunch of guides. Now, also another sign from a guide is all of a sudden a book will fall off a shelf. I cannot tell you. See all those books I have on the shelf? I bought those books because they were falling off of different shelves for me to buy in a bookstore back in the day, the Bodhi tree. But one of the things that you can do if you need reassurance, I mean, you could just say, can you just show me a sign? And maybe a sign would be show me the number 444, or show me, a symbol or something. You'll experience that. But I remember doing once a blatant question. I actually blatantly asked this. I said, because I was having trouble if I should work with this person or not. And I said, guides, I really need some help. Should I work with this person? I was driving on the 405 in Los Angeles when I saw that. I am not kidding. A bright orange billboard on a truck. And it said, yes, you should. I couldn't believe it. And so that's how they work. They also work a lot with music. So how do you communicate? First, get into the habit of listening. Listening is really important. Ask for a sign. Pay attention to the guidance you receive. Pay attention to the energy of gratitude and love around them. Okay. And that's really, and that's about stay in meditation. I think that's a great way to do it here. Okay. So there you go. I think all of that's all really good here. And National Pet Day, I did hear about that. Yay. Isn't that the greatest? Um, okay. Ardelia says, I've had dreams the last few nights with animals, dolphins, seahorses, and baby koalas. Wow. I would say vibration is rising. Anytime you see dolphins and seahorses, vibration, anything in the water, vibration starts to raise. I think that's fantastic. Hi, Katie Figueroa. So your question to me was, you have a mother that's a guide. Who are your other guides? That I don't know, Katie. I'd have to have a session with you, so I don't know. But I'm going to say you have at least a couple, at least 2 or 3 around you that help you aside from your mom, honey. Just go to bed and ask them their names. Ask them to even show you a sign. Oh, here's a big sign. Feathers. All of a sudden, feathers come out. You start to see feathers. It's like a huge one for that. So pay attention to, all of a sudden feathers and things. Okay, just camped Dawn. Do we speak out loud when you talk to your guides, or first of all, or can they hear your thoughts? They can definitely hear your thoughts. Just to be real clear, sometimes, even though I know they're listening, I still will say it out loud. I'll say, look, I just need help with this. Please. I come too far on this journey. I need some more help. You've got to be a little more clear with me. Oh, yeah, I do. Sometimes I whine and complain. Not too often, but there are those moments that I do. I don't know. I just can't help it. So, okay. So now this is a good question. I'm going to answer a bunch of questions now. Angel Anguilar, you asked me a question and he said, what happened to the predicted age of Aquarius? Was that just the name of a song? Which cracked me up. So the age of Aquarius in Vedic astrology is not going to happen probably for hundreds of years, because it has to be at the equinox at 0000 Pisces. It indicates the age of Aquarius. And so probably not for hundreds of years, frankly. I would say we're headed towards that because, and I think we are definitely headed at the beginning stages of it, at the baby stage of it, because especially with this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, it really does have this awakening of consciousness to it. And so on the planet, the age of Aquarius means, the golden age of peace and oneness. I think we're quite far away from that right now. But I would like to say that we're headed into that direction, because I actually believe that. Just probably won't be for a long time here. So, and this is from Brian G. He said that James and I had talked about, people before they incarnate, they choose Cancer to help them clear out their karma. Yeah, and what happens with Cancer is we call that the Great Awakening, because it often, you start feeling your body. You start paying attention to your body. You start paying attention to the kindness of others. Others help you. You help them. You go through an awakening spiritually, because it's often can be about life and death. So you start to really wake up. So, and he said, I've had Cancer a few times. I think you've had Cancer a few times. And so he said, can you just let go of it and forgive yourself for whatever you did in the past life to eliminate the whole Cancer thing? Okay, that's very funny. And then he says he has to apologize to his spirit guides because they probably have PTSD over being my spirit guides. I've often wondered that. And by the way, funny, it's a very funny statement, because I always imagine 2 spirit guides in a bar going, oh, you should see my human. Oh, no, you should see mine, But spirit guides are always growing and growing and growing and growing as well. And so my sense of it is, as a spirit guide is growing, if they need help, they bring somebody else in too. But there's a reason, Brian, for all of that. I'm sure your guides love you to death. So I think that's, and now, Anne Margaret, I know you had asked for names and you've asked for this and all of this. And I told you had 5 guides, which I do know that you do. It doesn't really matter if they have names. Maybe you're not still enough. You have to really still your mind to hear it. Sometimes you just have to be asleep. And the other thing is, let it go as far as, what their names are and all that. Just know the important thing. They're with you. Okay. So I think that's really important. Okay. Carolyn East, she said, I've come to believe that our guides come in all forms. Very true, Carolyn. Animals, angels, extraterrestrial. Absolutely. Absolutely. They do. I love animal spirit guides, actually. And angels. Angels are slightly different, but they will get us out of trouble. If we're driving too fast and we're about ready to get hit by a car, if it's not in our our path to this for this, they will get us out of the way. I mean, it's fascinating how angels work. So she said, our guides already know the lessons we need to learn. Yes, our guides know every single thing about our contract before we incarnate. We work with them. And so they know everything that is around the corner, literally. They don't know. Here's what they don't know. What choice are we going to make? Because we have free will here. And that's the whole thing about being on Earth. We have a choice, free will, free will. And I remember after my head injury, I said, oh God, just take my free will. It has done no good for me, you know. And I meant that. I'm also kidding around. But anyway, so she said, my assumption is that they will take or send whatever form will be most effectively to engage us in the learning of whatever lesson is in our sacred contract. Yes, it is true. They will try their best to keep us on our path for us to learn whatever it is that's part of our sacred contract. So because we have free will, you do have to, you know, pay attention and recognize when a lesson has been presented. So yes, just know that guides will work with us any which way they can. They might send a person to help us. They might send, you know, who knows? I mean, a bird. You might get a message from a bird. I mean, it's fascinating how. Can you imagine how they work? I mean, it's fascinating to me because they are really active with us. I know you're thinking, no, they're not. No, they actually are. So, and Ricky says, I know I have spirit guides. In fact, I have a squad of guides. One type of evidence is the many close calls that could have ended badly but did not. Now, absolutely, Rick, that also can be angels too. Questions. How do you know which guides intervene in any particular life event? It doesn't really matter. There are certain guides. It would depend on, you know, maybe it's the whole team comes in to help, you know, but don't worry, none of your guides are going to retire. That's a very funny thing. And the eclipse was incredible, wasn't it? So Carrie Sam says, what's the best way to communicate with your guides? Again, go into quiet meditation and listen. And I would do a guided meditation. You can find them online for free, a guided meditation for meeting your spirit guides. And it's amazing. Also, before you go to bed, ask for some sign from them, you know, ask them their name. Now, it took 3 years for me to do this every single night when I read that in James's book. And believe me, again, I did not expect the shock that they were going to show up physically in front of me. I don't think that's a good thing. I think it's a radical thing. But I do. And I would say that's not for everybody. That is for darn sure. Okay. Yolanda, hi, Yolanda Sneed says, I understand the veil is very thin right now. Yes. Do I have a message for my brother who passed in May of last year? He and I were very close, although he was 10 years older. Well, Yolanda, let's see here. Hold on. I have no more earthly worries. Oh, so here's a sign for you then, Yolanda. Look for sunflowers. Look for sunflowers. I've got chills on that because I think that would be a sign. And Vicki, I want to give you a card from your beloved Mike. Here we go. My favorite. You are never alone, honey. And actually, you're not. That I know for sure. I know for sure. Let's see. Let's see. Here we go. I've got a bunch of questions here. Let's see. Oh, thank you. From Mama 8, Hexagon Mama 8. I'm a bright spot in your week. Thank you. I so appreciate that. Okay, Christy Dix. Oh, hold on. Julie Musterman. Can we request a particular guide? Yes. Great question, Julie. Thank you for that. Yes, you can request a particular guide. Absolutely. If you need help, let's say you're going to start down a path of writing. You want to write a book, or you need, or whatever it happens to be. You can actually request that type of a guide. Absolutely. Or let's say you need to know or want to learn more about spirituality. Boom. Will request more of a spiritual guide, and all of that comes in. All of that's there to help. It's a great question. Let's say you want to do art. Same thing. Art guide comes in. Whatever it is, there are so many types of guides. Let's say you're going to go into healing and you want to be a healer. Then that is definitely going to be a thing about that. So it's just remember that. So Christy Dixon Pride. Hi, beautiful Kelly. Oh, thank you, Christy. You are so amazing. I had a journey with a shaman to meet my spirit guides. There you go. And one was the most beautiful elephant. No kidding. So elephants are such a powerful totem because elephants bring such empathy such empathy to a person. I love elephants. My face touched faces with it, and it was so profound. I came out of the journey crying with joy. Anything I should know about an elephant being a spirit guide? Yes. Just wanted to share. Oh, thanks, honey. Can't wait to get your book. Thank you. Let me say this, Christy. That is so profound. An elephant as a guide. So you would be looking at, all of a sudden a picture or something of an elephant would pop up. It means great empathy. Great empathy. So I think, oh, I just love them. I love it. Hi, Angie Heidemann. I hope you had a great solar eclipse, because I know you were way out there with it. Let's see. Here we go. Hi, Nancy J. Kellee. Thanks for all you do. My dog is suffering with seizures. He just started medication. Can you see if this will be effective treatment? I do think it will be. And his birthday is 12/7. I do think it will be. Actually right now. And I notice a lot of dogs are going through something like that, Nancy. It's kind of interesting. I always think of it as the vibration changing here. 12/7. Yeah, Jack of Clubs, King of Clubs. He comes for healing. He'll be fine. He will. But I think it's going to be a very good medication for him. So, yeah, that was a great show with Janelle. Wasn't it, Charlene Miller? Thank you for that. Okay. So, Isabella Cerulli. Are angels assigned to you like your spirit guides, or are they just randomly around? You know, that's a great question, Isabella. I think both. I think that we come in with a team of angels, and also more can come in and more can come in. So thank you for that question. I love angels, and I'm going to do a show of angels. I love angels. I love all of this, actually. But yes, I'm going to say yes. I do think that. I do think that. So, yeah, I do think that. Here we go. Let me go get my other questions. Hold on a second. Okay. And I love this question. Kavita, I don't think I'm going to say it right now. Kavita Govinder. She said, Kellee, the morning before my husband passed away, I heard an inner voice say to me that I will forget what my husband would look like. Now that's interesting. And from that moment, I cannot visualize the image of my husband unless I look at a photo. It would be interesting to know whose voice that was. I would say, honey, that it was your guide. So you would be paying attention. And so that he was giving you a heads up. I've got chills on that. I think that is huge. And you know what? I'm going to give you a card from your husband. I think that's just an amazing story here. Although you may not understand it now, everything happens for a reason. Well, I say your husband's got a good sense of humor. There you go with that one. It definitely has a good sense of humor. But I think that, and by the way, Karen, I've heard that story from other people. Right before somebody passes, they'll get a strong message, or literally hear of something odd like this. So fascinating. Okay, Lori LeClaire. Hi, Lori. I believe, Kellee, we are assigned spirit guides before we reincarnate. Yes, we are. However, do we gain and lose some over our lifetime according to the season of life we are in? Like, in other words, do we need more during tough times or less during better times? It all depends. That's a great question, Lori. And especially from a King of Clubs, that's a great question, because I know you put some thought into that. So it all depends on where we are. If we need an extra guide or need extra guides, they will be there. And again, some guides come for a season. Some guides come for the whole ride of your life. With my guides, I know I've had other guides come in to help or oversee or just bring me some other information or something. I don't know how else to explain it, but that's a great question. Okay, Marge Webb. 2 weeks ago, I was outside enjoying the sun. And out of the blue, the name Eloise came into my thoughts. Is that possibly one of your guides? I would say yes. Yes, I would absolutely say yes. Because that's how guides work. All of a sudden, if you're just in the still and you're out and you're in a joyful, calm state, that's often when they appear. Now, and in my case, I was in a joyful state in Tahiti, asleep, and kaboom, literally. Laura Crum says, Kellee, sometimes I just am doing something or upset and I hear words that for some reason I know it's my mom, but I do not hear her voice. Is that possible? Yeah, it could be your mom and it could be your spirit guides. Absolutely. Christy Oucher. Hi, Christy. She said, I miss your crystal posts. I'll have to do some more crystal posts, Christy. I appreciate that. She said, I have a piece of pyrite and that really helps me with pain. Fabulous. The question is, do you have to hold your crystals to receive the benefits? No, you don't. You can have them near you. You can actually even think of the crystal pyrite. I like to, if I'm needing some extra boost or healing, I always love to have my crystals around me, and I'll just go up and feel the energy. And but you can talk to a crystal. You doesn't have to be. You don't have to be holding on to it. No. Okay, Jerry Dombrowski. Jerry, this is really funny. She says, Kellee, why don't spirit guides interfere when you are making big life altering choices that are wrong? I think my spirit guides were on holiday when I made a decision to move to Michigan. I said, because we have free will, Jerry. They're probably screaming, like giving you every reason not to go there, like the truck breaks down, or you run out of money, or they're probably giving you all kinds of reasons not to go, but you have free will. And here's the thing with guides. They love us so much, they know you'll be, circling around again to come back. So it's just kind of funny. Bonnie Russell says, you can't fire your spirit guides. No, I don't think so. No, I don't think you can fire your spirit guides. I don't think that would be a good thing. And your birthday is May 13th and May 13th. So I do the destiny card. Somebody said, what is it that you do? Because I don't explain it, and I have a lot of new followers now. It's called the destiny destiny card system. And I love that. And I'll do a show on that to explain more into detail of what it is. But it's based on every birth date has a special meaning to it. And you're May 13th, and May 13th is hold on a second. It's a 6 of diamonds. So 6 of diamonds is all about financial balance, actually. Financial balance here. So there, I hope that helps you. Okay, Katie Figueroa. Oh, I already talked to you, Katie. Don't worry, you have 2 other guides. I don't know who they are. Just ask them before you go to bed. Okay, Jen Chris. Kellee, I've been told that I have an older Indian chief as a spirit guide and a white-horned owl. Is it true you can have more than one spirit guide? Yes. And they all work together to help you for lessons you need to learn. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, all of that's actually very, very accurate. Mm-hmm. Okay. Lori Young, she says, Kellee, my cat was crying and wanting to come outside with us. Interesting. During the eclipse. That's fascinating, isn't it? Oh my gosh. So let's see here. Okay. Eric says, when it's time, may I have a card? Tough week with special needs adult son. Absolutely, honey. Let's get you a card from your guides here, because these are great cards. These are messages from the guides from James Van Praagh, and they're fabulous. And I'm going to mention this book again. Great book, Wisdom from Your Spirit Guides. Excellent, excellent book for reading and learning all about spirit guides. So let's get you a card here. Eric, I'm sorry you've had a rough week. Give without expectations. There you go. And I know you do, honey. I know it's a constant with you. I know that. I know that it's not been an easy journey with that. I know, honey. Karen from Indiana, you said it was awesome. Oh my God, that's so great. Okay, let's see. Okay, wait a minute. I have some more questions here. Okay, Isabel Chason, can you ask them to help you on something very specific, or they know when they have to intervene? Yes, you can definitely ask them to help you on something specific. And do they know when to intervene? Yes, but remember, we have free will here. So they cannot make your decision for you. They can't. They just can't. They have to be very mindful of what your soul is here to learn. And everybody's soul is here to learn big ticket items. So they can put a feather in front of you, or they can, kind of direct you. Like I said, a book will fall, or the sign will point up that says, like this sign, just do it. I love that sign. That was from my mom. I mean, different ways that they help, but they do help us tremendously behind the scenes. You have no idea. Unbelievable. Hi, Dr. Susie. I know that you, I just say, I'm going to do a shout out from me and from Carrie to you. I want to say that karma is a bitch, Vicki. Yeah, it can certainly run its course. Anne Margaret, Ron Goldman's father said it best today. I didn't hear about that, but I'm sure. I also heard Cato Caitlin made a statement today too, and actually it was a pretty good one, frankly. I was impressed. Okay, Monica Escribano. She said, I had a dream once that I was in heaven and there were two guides, I believe female, and they were trying to talk me into coming to Earth. I didn't want to come, but they talked me into it. Could that have been real? 100%. Yeah, because what happens on the other side energetically is we start to get a pull. Like we're out in the universe, out in all these universes, learning, growing, having all kinds of experiences. And we will feel this energetic pull to come to Earth, or if that's what we had planned, other places to go and no place to go. But it all depends on, each individual soul here and what they want to learn and grow with. But anyway, in this case, you will feel this pull. And so I can imagine that your guides even show that to you in a dream, Monica. That's so fantastic. And it's funny because, there are a lot of ways to interpret that dream, but I'm going to say, yeah, it's definitely your guides, honey. No doubt about it. Carrie Ketterman, why would a spirit guide not care if you know their name, but other beings do? If other beings do, I'm not sure what I mean by that, but spirit guides, as long as you could call them, Joe Blow, Joe, I need your help. They go, okay. It's not that important as knowing they're there. That's all, knowing they're there. And when I work with somebody, every once in a while, and I do lots of spirit guide readings, every once in a while, I'll get a name. Every once in a while. Sometimes they tell me, often they don't. And because it's such a private thing, it's often between you and the guide. So that's kind of how that works. Frank Sullivan, you once told me that my guide is John. John, I remember, Frank, when that came out, and just wanted to know how I can understand his message. I need guidance now. I think, Frank, to get guidance from him, I'd be very still. Ask the question of what you're needing guidance for, and then get very, very still. Okay, get very, very still. And you'll start to hear some things, okay? Maria Carp Diem, she said, how do we know if a sign is coming from a guide or an archangel? Different energies, but frankly, it could be from an archangel, frankly. I've had Archangel Michael give me all kinds of information and signs. The reason you sit in the stillness is so you can discern from your body, actually, it's mind, body, and soul, what the energy that you're literally physically feeling, and so you start to feel the energy is different between an angel and a guide, slightly different. You start to feel the difference between all of this. So Liz Z says, do I speak to my guides through thoughts, verbally, or in meditation? All of the above. All the above. All the above. I do that. And I want to remind everybody, again, I have a Saturday that's open May 4th for sessions. Also, I have a class coming up, Star Seeds, which is, are you a star seed? Please join Janelle Campbell and me on May 10th in the United States and around the world, and in Sydney, Australia. She's in Sydney, Australia. In Australia on May 11th. But it's the same class, at the same time, just different time zones. I'll get that straight. And by the way, Janelle does incredible meditations, and she's going to do a meditation to connect you to the other galaxies, because star seeds are so fascinating because they are here at this exact time to bring in certain lights and frequencies and vibrations. And by the way, sometimes with a star seed, I find this fascinating, that a star seed soul, so if you feel like you are a star seed soul, you may have had a life right before coming to Earth on such a high vibration planet that when you get here, you're like, oh, really? Seriously? But you wanted to bring that information or that wisdom or that kindness or that empathy to Earth at this time. So there's so much we're going to talk about. I think you guys are going to love it. I think you are going to love it. I do. Let's see. Carla Zobi, can I speak to my guides with a pendulum? Yeah, you can. Absolutely, you can. I think in any which way you want to go with it, you certainly can, Carla. A pendulum is when you ask a question and it kind of goes like this, moves. So yeah, I think you could. Yeah, I don't see why not. Charlotte Kellner, I'm obsessed with ravens. Crows, ravens and crows are shapeshifters. So they bring all kinds of messages. If you are obsessed with them, they're definitely definitely a totem for you, a spirit guide totem for you. Often, just for the record, they have to do with ancestral information. Okay, just remember that, ancestral. So you might want to check out your ancestral. There might have been a lot of, what's the right word? Different types of mediumship may have gone on during that period of time, actually. So anyway, so that might help you. So Lori Sherbrooke says the eclipse hit me hard and I wasn't fit to be around anyone. Right? That's really true, Lori. And I understand the days are over there. Yeah. Okay, Jen Tran, can we have 100 guides? I know that you have 7 guides. She says, yep. Yes, you can. Well, I don't know, 100. Maybe. You probably have at least that in angels and ancestors and all of that. I mean, when we're here on Earth, we have to remember we have a team always around us because we've got ancestors and our loved ones. Don't forget them too. But spirit guides, oh yes, and Judy Legacy, a loved one can become a guide. Particularly interesting enough if we've had a parent, let's say, that was really not there for us. Let's just pretend we had a parent that wink, that wasn't really there for us. They often will be a guide. Karma helping us? I'm not really sure, but yes, absolutely. And on the other side, I can say this. If you also, I'm going to answer that in a second. If you also, I was very close with my mom. She's definitely a guide for me. Melinda Cassioli, how do you know if you are a starseed? Great question. Number 1, you'll probably be very empathic. Number 2, you may possibly, not always, but possibly have some form of, on the spectrum, ADHD, ADD, some sort of dream work going on. Very healers are natural ones. People that like to solve puzzles. People that think very outside of the box. While I was growing up, my mother would say, Kelly, here's the box. Stay in the box. I'm like, okay, I just don't see the box, but okay, I'll try. I was a pleaser. Okay, I'll try to fit into that box. But there are lots. So we're going to talk about all the ways that you are, that people will know they're often they feel like they don't fit in, or they look at the world and they're like, whoa, my goodness, how can this be? I mean, they're often very deep thinkers. They often don't feel like they fit in or belong. So, okay, that would be a good way to tell if you are a starseed. Eric says, Kelly, did you have spiritual contact before your traumatic brain injury? I did not, but let me answer that question that way. And this is part of my book. I had spiritual experiences from the time I was little. I started seeing ghosts, souls would just show up. And I write about this in my book. And I just wanted normal. I just wanted my life to be normal, Eric. I just wanted normal. I did not have normal. There was nothing normal in my whole life. So I thought I could just bypass all of that. And, and then I couldn't, because you can't outrun your destiny. And if your destiny is to do a certain thing, through an eclipse, through a head injury, kaboom, here I am over 24 years later. I've actually been practicing mediumship as a medium for over 20 years now. And it took me at least the 4 years to gather up my thoughts of what was happening to me. So so that, I hope that answers. Thank you for that question. Okay, Sally Sosa says, I heard my name and it sounded like my brother. Okay, absolutely. If it sounded like your brother's voice, then it was your brother's. Sometimes we can identify who that voice is. And if you can't identify it, it's a guide. Okay, so everybody, Monday, please join James and me on Monday for Both Sides Now and Beyond. We have a wonderful guest, and is like the star Pilates person in Los Angeles, or in California, actually, and all over the world. She wrote a book, Mindful Movements. It's about mind, body, and soul, and working through physical pain, through all kinds of things. And she's incredible. Her name is Risa Shepherd, and she's incredible. So it's going to be a great show on Monday. So please join us Monday, and then I will see everybody next week with another topic. I hope you enjoyed this. Take care, everybody. Bye.
You've been listening to Ask Me Anything. featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.